Welcome to part 4, everybody. Now, for this one, we are going to cover the last 5 anime of this countdown. Now, before you guys get into anything, these 5 anime have an incredibly personal attachment to me, and I'll be explaining why for each anime. But without further ado, let's begin the final part. Number 5, Gurren Lagann. Yes, I love this series. I love how enjoyable it is, the action, the characters. But I just really so much love for it. The characters are all fairly well, and I actually have no characters I hate in this series, and that is very rare for me. Also, the enjoyment here would almost rank to my number 2 anime. The only reason it never ranked at number 2 is the ending. I hate the ending of Gurren Lagann. But for me, this is definitely one of Gainax's best works. And honestly, this anime has a special attachment to me because it reminded me that an anime does not have to be dark to be enjoyable. Honestly, I was going through a phase where I was only enjoying dark anime. And Gurren Lagann came around and reminded me, hey, you don't have to be dark to enjoy an anime. And it gave me enjoyment on a really hard time of my life. So, I'll be honest, this one will always have a special attachment to me, and that's why it's my number 5. Number 4.1, Code Geass. Now, I'm going to be very honest here, I think this series is pretty mature and pretty smart. Okay, I admit it's not the best anime out there, and there probably are better and more smarter anime, but you know what? I really like this one. It had some great action, great characters, and was honestly and great animation. I also think this is Sunrise's best work, more so than Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be late for that comment, but anyways, what's the personal attachment for this one? The main character, Lelouch v. Britannia. He is probably my favorite anime character, period. Not because people view him as a god or an immortal, no, because I view him as a flawed human. I see his relationships with the characters, and I really back up his opinion because of those. True, I don't agree with all of his choices he makes, but I can really relate to why he's doing it and support him for it. And that's part of the reason why Code Geass is my number 4.1. Number 4.2, FateZero. Yes, the most recent anime I watched, and the one I reviewed, I do private videos, but the one I most recently reviewed is my 4th favorite anime. It's probably the darkest anime I've ever watched, more than Future Diary and more than Madoka Magica, because it was depressing from beginning to end, and it could be at times just as gruesome, or sometimes more so than Future Diary could. Now, that's part of it, but the reason I really like it is the characters. My god, these characters are either fun and enjoyable with Ryder, tragic with Karia and Kiritsugu, and creepy with Castor and Ryosuke. And honestly, I thought this was one of the greatest anime I've ever seen. And if it was a great list and not a favorite list, this would probably rank a little higher. But for a favorites list, this list's at number 4.2. Number 3, Clannad and Clannad After Story. Holy crap. Okay, this has got to be my favorite romance anime, period. To explain, this one has a really, really special attachment to me as well. The characters are some of the more... I find some of them human. I know people like Sunahara. I know people like Nagisa. So honestly, I can relate to that, but this one has one thing that tops any anime, even my number one for this. I actually cried in one of the scenes in here, and I've never done that with an anime before and since, though FateZero came very, very close to beating that. But anyway, Clannad also has, in my opinion, the best soundtrack I've ever heard, and it's one I'll go into multiple tracks and listen to over and over again. And honestly, that's why it ranks at number 3, because of those attachments. Because I really feel for this anime. On to the next one. Number 2, Trigon. Now, I've stated before, me and classic anime don't always get along. This is the huge exception. This 1998 anime is probably, in my opinion, one of the best anime I've ever watched. But do you want to know the strange thing? I don't quite know why I love it so much. I just do. I feel so much attachment with some of the characters like Vash the Stampede and Nicholas D. Wolfwood. I can't help it. This is one of the best anime I've ever seen, in my opinion, and one of my favorites, but I just can't pinpoint why. It's an enigma that I've been trying to solve for the last little while. But the special attachment here is Vash the Stampede. He is so likable, and I can understand his character so well. But enough of that. Let us move on to my number 1. And my number 1.1. Ha ha ha, it's a tie! But for this one, it has to be a tie, because I think both of these are masterpieces in their own right. But enough of my talk. Let's go to number 1.1 first. The original 2003 Fullmetal Alchemist. Yes, I love this series. I think it is one of the best things I've ever watched, and one of the most emotional I ever got. This also is the anime that got me back into watching anime about over a year ago. Now, the best part of the series, in my opinion, was episode 25. Yes, it was the Maze Hughes death. Yes, it was incredibly sad. But at the time, no other show no other anime or animation had really hit me as hard as that one did. That hit me really hard, and I can't thank it enough for that. The characters and everything else, I love this anime so much. But wouldn't that mean that number 1.2 is? Yes, number 1.2 is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yes, if I was to make sure this wasn't a tie, this would still rank at number 1. For some very special reasons. For number 1, it has everything the original did. And it has one trump card for me. And that is episode 63. The second to last episode. Really hit me in more places than I can imagine. It gave me such joy, such heartbreak, such heartwarming, and possibly one of the saddest yet fulfilling endings of any episode in any anime. I cannot thank that enough for that. And it's also the one that made me love anime. True, Fullmetal Alchemist may have gotten me back into anime, but this one made me love anime again. And that's the number 1 reason as to why Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood will remain my number 1 favorite anime. This has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I hope you've had a great 2013 and hope to have an even better 2014. See you guys then.